Yo, we're going to jump in to cover a couple quick topics on the week. Just starting off with our situation here with Jerome Powell. Headline here just reads off HuffPost. This is actually hosted on MSN, but originally written on HuffPost. Essentially, it says here, Fed Chair Jerome Powell, who we've heard a lot of noise about, threatens to raise the rates again. Kind of creates this bipartisan pushback that it's talking about here, just because we have seen interest rates across the board in the U.S. be hiked, looks like 8 times, it says here, from March 2022 to January of this year, and there's already talks about it getting raised again. So we'll see kind of what's to come of that and how that might affect the market, whether that will be in a good or a bad way for Bitcoin. My personal opinion here, not financial advice, but generally when the US dollar is not in the best light, once all the sell-offs in crypto happen, typically indicates that Bitcoin or crypto as a whole is going to be doing good, right? So not necessarily financial advice in any way, shape, or form, but general rule of thumb in crypto is if the US dollar is not doing great, typically the Bitcoin crypto market as a whole does good, right? So vice versa, if Bitcoin's not doing great, then usually the US dollar is doing good, right? So you can take from that as you will, whether that just be because of FUD and news driving the market, who knows? Me personally, I think a lot of that is the case. As you can see off on the right-hand side here, we've got a little sell-off, buy-off chart as well. That actually is coming from a couple of different sources. Of course, you can see kind of off to the side what exchanges are selling off. Most of you probably know the chart that I'm talking about, but it is off of kingfisher.io if you guys want to check out that chart. They also have like a liquidation get wrecked chart as well if you want to check that out. But anyways, back to what we were talking about, we'll see kind of what's to come with the Federal Reserve raising interest rates and how that's going to affect the crypto market. But moving on, we've talked about this on our last video, but with Silvergate, says here on Business Insider, the headline is just Silvergate Collapse may spell regulatory trouble for crypto. And that very well could be the case, right? But there's a lot of bullish news that's coming out of Coinbase dropping Silvergate as one of their lenders, right? There's some bullish news around their asset management company that we talked about in the last video that could be very good for crypto as a whole. Definitely for Coinbase, it's some bullish news for them, as well as a couple other things that we're going to talk about here that I think are also very bullish, right? So we'll see kind of what's to come with Silvergate and how that may affect the market as a whole. I know that it's not just Coinbase that dropped them. There's a handful of other companies that dropped Silvergate, and Silvergate's essentially shutting down now, is the most recent news that came out. Their stock had dropped, looks like down 61% at the time of this article, and this was 2 days ago at 5:52 p.m. So not exactly sure where it's at right this moment, but I can't say that it's looking good, seeing that they are essentially going to be shutting down, right? Now, moving on, though, to some more bullish news. Talked about it in another video as well, but Kraken did confirm that they are going to be launching their own U.S. bank, all online, right? It's all going to be online based, but that is huge for crypto. I would say coming out of that SEC ruling and Kraken having to settle for a $30 million payoff to the SEC, right after that comes this news about Kraken opening up their own bank. So not exactly sure how that's connected, but I'm sure in some way, shape, or form it is. Anyways, we are go ahead and move on. Binance, right? So there's some bullish news with Binance. Binance did get cleared by a judge to buy Voyager, right? We heard a couple of months ago that that was actually denied, that approval was denied, and that was not going to happen. But it is looking like, yes, there's a warning with SEC, but it's looking like it's going to go through for $1.3 billion. So very cool for Binance and CZ to continue on their efforts and making sure that they're following through with what they promised. And we'll see what's to come with that. If you're a Voyager client and you are somebody that lost money throughout the entire bankruptcy situation with Voyager, then I'm sure this could be in some way, shape, or form beneficial to those people, right? I personally have not been affected. I was able to get my money off their exchange before all that happened about a year and a half ago. So anyways, moving on, though, there is some positive news with Mt. Gox. If you know about Mt. Gox, it's one of the largest hacks, essentially, that occurred in the crypto market. But for this to be a headline, I mean, this is massive. This just came out an hour ago. Mt. Gox creditors can now file claims until April, right? So if you're a creditor and you're somebody that lost money throughout this entire situation, which was a loss of 850,000 Bitcoin, today's market, I'm not exactly sure off the top of my head what that is, but we do some quick math. Bitcoin Bitcoin's B7. And if we take that, just times that number, 850,000, you're looking at 18.3, just about billion dollars that was lost in the Mt. Gox hack, right? So huge news for anybody that was affected by that. We'll see kind of what's to come ultimately with it. And last but not least, we are going to jump into one of my Instagram stories that I shared here. Since this article came out, Bitcoinist had launched a article at the time of me posting this, which was about 12 hours ago. It had just came out stating that Gemini lost their contract or partnership with JP Morgan, right? So sounds horrible, but earlier in the day, Gemini themselves had posted on this tweet here. I'm not sure if it's zoomed in and visible enough, but essentially it reads, despite reporting to the contrary, Gemini's banking relationship remains intact with JP Morgan. So who knows what the truth is, as I say here. So which is it, right? And I tagged them both. We'll see if anybody responds there. I highly doubt it. But anyways, that is the news on the week. Hope you guys are enjoying these videos. And I do have a short that just came out yesterday if you guys want to check that out. Drop a comment below. Let me know if you like this format, and I would love to continue to do these. Have an awesome day.